I tasked the other two guys on this podcast, including myself, to come up with 3 ferociously hot takes for this upcoming season. Now, this isn't going to be your run-of-the-mill, I think this person's going to be a top 25 player. We're talking about some hot takes.
Delete. Okay.
Could be fantasy, could be NFL. Well, I mean, it could be a hot take if it's like Tony Pollard finishes as a top 25 running back. That would be insane. Like,
God, will you get off Tony
example.
Pollard?
It was an example.
Just
like,
say it. Just say it.
That would be a hot take.
All right, Billy, go ahead and get your Pollard take.
That's not one of my hot takes, believe me. I don't believe that. So, anywho, do you all want me to start off? Do one of you all want to start off?
We should do one at a time, not rapid fire like Joe last time.
Okay, well, I'm going to go.
You gave me a 1 minute timer, man.
No, I'm going to go for not for all of all of them at one time. We meant one.
I was wrapping them out there.
You really were.
It was 1 minute per, not 1 minute per.
You finished the whole thing in under a minute, so it was pretty impressive. Hey. It was just, we got our eyebrows blown off by it. I'll go first, actually, because I think Urban Meyer is going to be the first head coach fired this year in Jacksonville. Wow. I think Urban Meyer is a fucking idiot. I said it. I said this last week. I'm saying it again.
I'm just going to go ahead and write down the time on this and go ahead and clip this because I feel like we need a weekly Urban Meyer chat.
Okay, well, guess what dumb Urban Meyer did this week? He fucking said that COVID played a part in teams cutting players. Guess what, dumb? You can't do that. It's against the fucking rules, stupid. It's against, and so now they're getting investigated by the NFLPA. And they're going to have to fucking probably give up a draft pick or some shit over this. And it's like, get out of your own way, dude.
Bill Belichick's laughing right now because he's like, I've given up draft picks before, but I'm not an idiot.
Every team cut players because of not being vaccinated or something like that. Every team did it. Guess what? You don't say that that's the reason. It's so It's so stupid. I cannot believe this guy is a head coach. I get it. He's a really brilliant football mind. He just has no idea how to run a football, like a program, like an NFL program. He knows how to run a college program where you can just do shady shit under the table and nobody cares. In the NFL, you don't have room to work like that, my guy. Like, it's very well documented what you do. So I'm going with him being the first one fired because by pure stupidity, he's going to end up by like week 6. Not being able to cut it when there's like 0-6 because he's done all sorts of stupid stuff.
Well, so, I mean, honestly, college coaches have not historically done that well in the NFL. I mean, obviously, like the big names, at least. I'm sure there's people that transfer over that we don't hear about as much often. But like Nick Saban didn't do good in the NFL, but
there's been a few, like Jimmy Johnson, for example. He was good, but like
Chip
far
Kelly,
in between.
Chip Kelly,
but the thing is, even with Chip Kelly, at least like he was like, I'm going to try this new crazy thing and see if it works, and it was like, well, maybe it would, and it didn't. But
it did not.
He's not.
Well, he should have told everyone what he was going to do. He's like, hey, I'm going to run my Oregon offense here, and they're like, oh, well, this will be easy as stuff.
Right, exactly. But it's just like this guy just has a circus going there every freaking day, and I don't understand how it's going to work for the entire season. Like, I honestly, I'm kind of just like picking up my popcorn and just like, well, what's next? What could you do now, Urban? You got something planned? What idiotic thing do you have planned for today? Like, what stupid thing are you going to allow to happen? So,
cue the Michael Jackson popcorn meme.
Exactly. So that's my first hot take. I don't think Urban lasts a season, and I much less think he's going to be the first one fired. Barely eking out Cliff Kingsbury, but I think he'll be the first one fired.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think either one of us can disagree with that. All right,
so,
can I go to my hot take?
Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
I mean, Joe, are you good with that? Are we satisfied?
Yeah. Okay. By all means, go ahead.
We'll do that order.
Let's go with Justin Tucker will be the number 1 kicker this year. I'm just kidding. That's obvious.
I was like, okay, I don't think that's as hot as you're saying, but okay, I will follow you down this path.
Spicy take, but that's a bonus take. Draft Justin Tucker. Don't draft him like an idiot, though. Don't be that guy who grabs a kicker in the 8th round. That's stupid. All right. My real hot take is I believe thoroughly, and I'm grabbing him everywhere. I've even convinced one of our good friends, Gerald, who drafted a team that looks like everyone we've talked about. Like, I don't know if he sent you guys that draft, but his team looked like, I was like, I really like your team. every person on this team is someone I would draft. And he goes, yeah, I've been listening to your podcast. I was like, that tracks. And I was like, it's sexy. I got to read it off to you. I'm going to read it. I'm going to give Gerald a little play here because, man, that team looks good. But anyway, my actual hot take is also on Gerald's team. I believe Russell Gage will win people fantasy championships this year. You're getting him basically the last round, maybe the last 2-3 rounds. The last 5 weeks, he was averaging basically 8 targets a game, getting double-digit points. I don't know why people think that no one's going to take over the Julio targets. Obviously, I know people are high on Pitts, and you can still be high on Pitts and still think that Ridley's going to get or Russell Gage is going to get those targets. Basically, there's no one like Elimidius, Zacchaeus, whatever the heck his name is. He is not the guy who's going to take over those targets. It's Russell Gage. He did it last year when Julio was injured. He's going to do it again. The team's going to be so bad, and they're going to throw the ball the entire year. So I don't. And then not to mention if anything actually happened to Ridley, which would actually probably be bad for Gage. He's going to be the de facto number 1 wide receiver. So I just don't understand why people are why he's drafted in the 12th round. He's the wide receiver 2. That's the last wide receiver 2 you're getting. And I would be okay with grabbing him in the 10th, maybe even before that. I'm not trying to reach on people's ADP because you don't want to get too high up there, but I cannot believe I thought his ADP would skyrocket, and I've just seen it basically sitting there stagnant in the 12th round, and it makes no sense to me.
There's a lot of targets to be had there.
Mm-hmm. Really is. Okay, fireball bet.
My scorching hot take, and I've said this probably 100 times on this podcast, and I know there's an injury involved now, but I still think DeAndre Swift catches 90 to 100 balls this year in that offense. That's 5.8 catches per game. They're going to be down like crazy. Jared Goff with Todd Gurley in 2017 and 2018. Todd Gurley had 64 and 59 catches in games that they were winning pretty much every game. They had a good defense. They had everything. The Detroit Lions are going to be playing catch up 97% of the time this year.
Wait, are we bringing another billion?
A lot of balls to DeAndre Swift. What's up?
I said, are we bringing another billion here? You said catch up.
Catch up.
Catch up.
I just wanted to get that on official paper.
So
there.
You've already said it 3 times, so it's not a hot take anymore.
I know, but I wanted to officially say it.
I agree with the fact that you've said it a bunch of times. I just don't see it, man. He's already injured.
That's what I do.
It's not because he's bad. I just don't think that you're comparing him to Todd Gurley at this point. Basically, nobody was like Todd Gurley in those years. I mean, there's probably some of the top 5 running backs and stuff that are like Todd Gurley, but
they did both play at Georgia. Good one, Joe.
Comparisons.
Okay, your college football podcast is really paying off for you, Joe.
Dude, I'm learning so much from Billy.
I'm not
this
saying
man's a fucking guru over here.
I just would much rather grab Ridley or a wide receiver there, or I don't know. I just feel like that if it doesn't, I feel like there's a worse chance of it not panning
Dude,
out.
I'm starting to see him dip into the 5th round on stuff. At that point,
well, with the injury, I haven't drafted in a while.
Swift went in the 4th round on my live draft on Saturday. 4th. I mean, it was the first pick of the 4th round, but still, it was the 4th round. It was kind of nuts.
I'm okay with grabbing him there, but his ADP was 15th, 17th. Yeah. I couldn't grab him in the 2nd round. Unless it was
I've been going receiver early quite a bit and grab 2 wide receivers. DeAndre Swift is my 2nd running back. I am very happy with the way that draft turned out. Going wide receiver heavy in the top.
All right. Honestly, I didn't know his ADP was that low. So you know what, Joe? I'm okay with it. Sorry for arguing.
Fair enough. All right. Here's my next scorching hot take, which I cannot wait to hear their opinions on this one. I think Najee Harris is going to lead the league in rushing.
I don't have any problem with that. Joe apparently had that exact same thing.
Do you really?
He's showing the Najee Harris.
That's awesome.
On season. Are there hearts next to that? That's
cute. I drew
hearts. Show that on screen. Oh, that's a video. Clip it.
But yes, I think Najee Harris is going to get run into the motherfucking ground this entire season, and I don't think they're going to pass as much as that. Last year, for example, maybe the touchdowns will get sniped by Claypool or Deontay Johnson, something like that. But I think as a whole, down the field, I think it's going to be Najee is going to pound the rock, pound the rock, and I think
see,
that's how it's going to go.
I've said it to anyone that'll listen. I think you're going to see Zeke rookie year, Saquon rookie year, like obviously potentially better, but I just feel like they're going to give them the ball. Like they're going to give Najee the ball. Like that's his thing. He's a big dude. I want him in a draft so bad. I just hope to God I get a late round pick. Otherwise, I'm drafting him with the third overall pick because he always gets sniped on the way back so far, and I've only been in
for
the
sure.
front, so.
Yeah, they love the kid, and from every report that's been in camp, he is like, if you're out there, you could probably get some pretty good odds on him winning the rushing title this year. I look at what the odds are. I think when I last looked, it was like 28-1 for him to lead, and I would take that bet. I think he's going to have so many fucking touches this season that he's going to have the volume to get there.
I'll give him offensive player rookie of the year. I think RB1, that's a super hot take. Don't get me wrong. I agree with it, but I just think that's
he said rushing leader. I had RB1 on this.
He had RB1. Yeah.
I mean, same thing. I mean, for the most part.
At least we're on the same page, man.
But if he's rushing leader and he's a big guy, he's going to have a lot of touchdowns. So naturally, it's about the same thing.
That's the only part I'm scared of, though. I think they're going to do these stupid Chase Claypool 4-yard touchdown bullshit.
Oh, dude, those fucking end rounds, man.
Exactly.
It happened to the Eagles last year.
So stupid.
4 touchdowns against the Eagles. Oh,
yes, on the dumbest plays. So
no, I have no problem with that hot take. I love it, honestly. I think we're all about it.
Okay, nice. Well, I'm glad my 2 hot takes so far haven't been that far off from actually being takes you agree with. So
I'm looking forward to number 3. I'll disagree with it, whatever it is.
You probably will already.
All right. Well, I did a thing that you guys are probably going to disagree with.
No.
This has to do with a quarterback that I drafted, and I chose him as the QB3 in our league. And I actually, I thought about it, and I've defended this to a couple people, and I've talked about it a couple times about in our draft, the Sheba League, I had the choice. I didn't need to draft him. I chose to draft him. I had a choice of any quarterback except that wasn't Josh Allen and Mahomes. I think Herbert's going to be a top 3 quarterback this year. I think that he learned a lot his rookie year. He obviously missed one game with the first one, but he looked really good, and they didn't build around him, which is a little concerning. I thought they would add some wide receiver depth to that team, but the dude has no problem throwing the ball to anyone. I think that's the thing that he's got going for him. The interceptions weren't very high either. I think he's just going to have a ridiculous year. I'm thinking like 4,500 yards, 40 touchdowns kind of deal, because they're not the kind of team to have those dink and dunk running backs. Like they don't really have. I mean, unless Larry Roundtree's really that dude, they haven't had the big running back.
He's that dude
in the end zone. They don't give it to Eckler on the goal line. So I just think that there's going to be a lot of big plays here. My thing is, I just think Herbert's going to. He probably won't be top 3, but I think he will easily be top 5.
Here's the thing, though. Herbert had 5 rushing touchdowns last season. Like that's a lot, and that's value that you can. Definitely, if he even matches 5 rushing touchdowns and then gets, how many ever passing touchdowns he's going to have this year. Top 3 is within the realm of possibility.
I didn't do it on purpose, and I had no intent on grabbing Herbert. I grabbed Allen the couple rounds before, and I was just like looking at it, and I was the next one up, and I was on the back end where I'd have 2 picks in a row, and I was like, fuck it. I want Herbert. Like, I love the combo. Obviously, if anything happens to any one of the 3 of the big guys on that team, it would hurt a lot. But Eckler with the yards after carry or after catch, and then you got fucking Keenan Allen out there who's just going to have a monster year. I don't know. I just like Herbert a lot this year, and I couldn't take Kyler or Dak or Rodgers. I think they're all good quarterbacks. Rodgers, too many question marks. Russell Wilson, he should be really good. I don't know. I'm just waiting for that one bad year, the one time I draft him. And then Kyler and Lamar, I'm not sold on. It's hard for me. I think I even had Herbert as my quarterback 6 whenever we did our rankings, but I don't know what it was. I have a feeling he's going to be really good this year.
You get those hunches, man. You just got to go on them.
I got a hunch.
This game's all about, dude.
It really is.
I like it.
Let's see it. All right, Joe, what do you got?
All right, so I have, assuming Kirk Cousins doesn't get himself in any trouble, I have JJ the Jet Plane, Mr. Justin Jefferson, going 4 for 4 and leading the league in targets, receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Just a monster of a fucking season over here.
Whew.
I think that Irv Smith injury opens the door for it. Thielen's getting up there in age. Cousins, I mean, his ass is on the burner at this point in his career. I don't think that defense is going to be very good. I think they're just going to be pounding the rock down to Justin Jefferson. And the Bears don't have any cornerbacks, so it's going to be wide open for him all day.
I think that's a hot take.
So you said scorching hot.
That is scorching hot.
That one is scorching me.
I'm not defending my reputation here. I'm staking it on it. Justin Jefferson going 4 for 4.
I think he could lead in. Oh man, 4 for 4. I just feel like, man, if I had to bet it right now, I'd probably say no. But it could happen. I mean, it could happen. Sure,
anything could happen.
I just don't like
scorching hot, and I'm saying
it is scorching hot. I'm just like I'm.
Stars are lining up.
My brain is weaving the path to get there, which, I mean, Thielen not being around would be better for that.
I think Thielen helps him, honestly.
Having
Thielen and Cook there helps him.
It's going to
Thielen takes his touchdowns away.
Take away from it. I don't know.
I don't think Thielen takes his targets and yards away because Jefferson's obviously explosive on his own, but he does take the touchdowns away. For some reason, I don't understand it because Thielen's not a big guy, but they did a lot of like slants in the end zone, and Thielen's just always wide open, and it made no sense. Like he had like 14 touchdowns or something last year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I think Jefferson, he was also a rookie, and he looked fucking phenomenal for a rookie. I don't disagree with. I think he can easily hit 2 of those, and yards is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
He's got to get the touchdowns, though. That's the thing. So it's either big plays or he needs to learn the jump ball in the end zone.
I like it.
He's got it.
All right. Well, here is my last take that, this is probably the most far-fetched, but I think Mac Jones and Justin Fields lead their team to the playoffs.
I
love that.
That's not a hot take. The Bears go to the playoffs every year and they lose.
Have you seen the Bears' schedule?
Yeah, I understand schedule, yada, 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 but the Bears always go to the playoffs. Their defense is good enough their cornerbacks aren't. Honestly, no,
we don't need them. We don't need them.
The offense,
well, the hot take is that both of them get there. That's the hot take. Like, one of them getting there, Mike. I think Mac Jones could easily do it.
I don't like when you say things I agree with. I like disagreeing with you, and you've said everything that I agree with.
Well, I thought you would disagree that the Bears could get there. That means 3 teams in the NFC North would get there. Like, you think that's possible?
Honestly, I'm not sold on the Vikings.
Well, they have a cupcake schedule, unless you talk to Joe.
I'm just no. I'm just saying. I never have been sold on Kirk Cousins. It's not a bad thing. They'll probably make.
I'm not either. I just think they got the easiest draw of all fucking time, as far as how their path to the playoffs is such a fucking easy.
And honestly, the Packers are kind of in shambles right now. Obviously, Rodgers has something to prove.
They'll be fine. What are you talking about? Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and do what he did last year.
I do think Bakhtiari getting put on IR is not.
That's not awesome.
That's not great.
That's not great.
Not awesome.
Yeah, that's not awesome for their value. You're right.
I can see it though. The Patriots. I think Mac Jones can be serviceable, and I think they built enough around him, and just whatever quarterback they would have chosen. Personally, I think Cam would have led them to the playoffs. I don't think Dalton will lead the Bears to the playoffs.
Not Dalton Fields.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like,
Dalton for sure not. No.
I'm saying I think Cam could have led that team to the playoffs, though. Is the thing. I don't think. I mean, it's a good team.
Maybe.
No, they got it. They built for what they had to choose from. They built a good team. Belichick's smart. He knows what he's doing. I fucking hate him.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, go ahead.
All right. Now this one is the one that I'm sure you guys are gonna be like, no, you guys.
Yeah, the Eagles winning the NFC East. Yeah, I can't wait.
The Eagles. To be fair, that's not even a hot take. That's just a possibility. They're all possibilities, except for
that's a pretty hot fucking take.
Washington. My hot take, my fourth hot take, because I'm not counting this one. Washington will not win the NFC East because in 14 years or whatever it was.
Oh my god!
Repeats. It's a stat,
dude. Superstitions.
It's not a super. It's true. All right. Anyway, no, this actually does have to do with the Eagles, but it's not about that. I believe in Mr. Sanders, Mr. Miles Sanders. I know that nobody does anymore because of their whole weird running back situation that they got going on.
Okay.
I believe he's going to be in the top 10 running backs. He has the easiest path to it if he gets the carries. He is averaging 5 yards per carry in his career. He has basically gotten about 13 carries per game in his career. So if you just give him the fucking ball, looking at you past Doug Peterson and Mr. Nick Sirianni, who apparently loves running backs and wants to make this a running team and yada, yada, yada. He looked phenomenal with Jalen Hurts out there. That was the only value we actually had last year. And it was mostly because of little dump offs and weird screen kind of games. There's Boston Scott there and Gainwell, but I don't think either one of them is going to really cut into the majority of the workload. But what Doug Peterson did last year was, and the year before, was he'd put Miles Sanders out there for like 3 drives, and then he'd just take him out of the game for like a quarter. And then he'd put him back in and hope that he'd be fresh. I think Nick Sirianni's smart enough to know that Miles Sanders is the starter running back, and these other guys are change of pace backs. Like they're going to do what Darren Sproles did. Like they're going to pop in a play and then run back to the sideline. Obviously there's spots where if they're back 30 yards on second down, maybe Boston Scott will be in there. Maybe I just think that the chances of Miles Sanders being out there more often and honestly being involved in the pass game. He had 50 catches for 63 targets in 2019. And a lot of those were like wheel end around like routes that ended up being touchdowns. Like I think he only had 3 touchdowns, but they were big, like chunk plays. So 79% catch rate. Last year he was 28 for 52. Obviously the team was garbage. So 53% catch rate, no touchdowns. They didn't throw to him. I mean, they threw like half as many targets to him. And he caught the ball. It wasn't the problem. It was Wentz threw it over his head or into the ground. Actually, no, it was always over his head. It was never into the ground. Wentz just sailed every single one that went to him. I just have this feeling, and that where his ADP is at right now at 36 or something like that. I just love buying him. I'm going to buy him in every draft in the 4th round if I can get him.
Okay,
I like it.
I don't disagree. There's definitely I can see the path to hit for him to get to top 10.
I think the coaching change is going to help him mostly on the Eagles.
I think them playing from behind, them playing from behind is going to only increase that, because I think in order for them to go faster, them running the offense through Hurts and Sanders would actually make a lot of sense.
I think just having Hurts' mobility there is going to help him.
Yeah,
they click together, and that's the thing is people aren't talking about it. I thought he'd be higher up. I think he slipped down ADP lately because everyone's just all about rookies. And
I think the Eagles suck, so it kind of hurts the value.
It's the preseason. We never win in the preseason. I've already talked about this. God,
I don't want to get you back on it. I'm just saying that's why I think the slip happened.
That's fine.
All right. So Billy,
I stole yours. So
you stole my third, but I got a couple down here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I got this one written down as bonus DraftKings. On Thanksgiving of this year, November 25th, Justin Fields' Darnell Mooney stack is going to win someone $1 million versus the Lions. I'm predicting a massive, massive game on Thanksgiving. That's where he really solidifies that starting role, gets Bears fans all excited for the future. I'm pumped for it.
God, I hope he has a starting role before Thanksgiving.
No. Mark your calendar. Well, they come out of there by 2 weeks before that, then they play Baltimore. So I'm assuming that if he comes out, he's going to struggle a little bit against Baltimore, and then he's just going to fucking light Detroit up on Thanksgiving. National audience, 11:30 in the morning. Get the hype train rolling.